especially with the front office.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to go find these players because they're available.
Yeah.
And is it film study? Is it calling other coaching connections? What is
all the above? Right. It's all the above. It's seeing film, watching clips, talking to contacts and connections. Bree and especially has been super helpful in this. She's got a lot of contacts overseas who have seen Kyra, for example, play a lot overseas. Teammates that she's had that are over there that have played with her, against her. Same thing with Odyssey. All three of our assistant coaches coached her in AU, so they have some familiarity with her. So it really is all hands on deck in trying to get the best person possible to fit the need at the time.
Had Kyra been on your radar previously? Like, has she been a name that came up earlier in this process?
No.
Before we dive into this absolute bombshell about the Indiana Fever, if you're watching this thinking, finally someone's saying what we're all thinking, hit that like button right now, because what Stephanie White just admitted about how they scout players is going to make you question everything about this $78 million organization. And trust me, you're gonna want to subscribe for more of this breaking coverage. The Indiana Fever just exposed themselves as the most incompetent front office in the WNBA, and I'm not even exaggerating. What Stephanie White revealed in her latest press conference about their scouting methods should have every single Fever fan demanding answers. We're talking about a franchise that just spent $78 million on a practice facility, flew their executives around the world during the offseason, and yet they're scouting players the same way your 12-year-old cousin picks their fantasy team, by watching YouTube highlights and asking their friends who's good. I'm dead serious. This isn't a joke. The head coach of the Indiana Fever literally just admitted they signed their latest player, Kyra Lambert, based on watching clips and phone calls to assistant coaches' friends. Not professional scouts, not comprehensive scouting reports, clips. Like they're running a high school team in 1995. Let me paint you the full picture of this disaster, because it gets worse the deeper you dig. When asked directly if Kyra Lambert had been on their radar before this emergency signing, Stephanie White's answer was a flat no. Think about that for a second. The Indiana Fever, with Caitlin Clark on their roster, with Aliyah Boston as their franchise center, with all the momentum and attention in the world, didn't even know this player existed until they desperately needed someone to fill a roster spot. But wait, it gets even more embarrassing. When White explained their scouting process, she said, and I quote, "It's all the above, right? It's seeing film, watching clips, talking to contacts and connections." She literally said watching clips, not comprehensive game film analysis, not sending scouts to actually watch players in person. Clips, like they're scrolling through Instagram reels at 2 in the morning. And who are these contacts and connections she's talking about? Get ready for this. It's assistant coach Brianne January's friends from overseas. That's right, the Indiana Fever's international scouting department consists of whatever phone numbers their assistant coach has saved in her contacts. January apparently has a lot of contacts overseas who have seen Kyra play. Oh really? Your friends watched her play? Well then, by all means, let's sign her immediately without any actual professional evaluation. The most damning part? White admitted they're relying on the fact that their assistant coaches coached Lambert in Athletes Unlimited. You know what Athletes Unlimited is? It's basically pickup basketball with fancy jerseys. It's a gimmick league where individual players win, not teams. Saying you scouted someone from AU is like saying you evaluated them from a YMCA run. Actually, scratch that. At least at the Y, you can see how they play with regular teammates. This is the same franchise that just brought in Kelly Krauskopf as president of basketball operations. The same franchise that hired Amber Cox as their new general manager. These are supposed to be basketball minds who know how to build a championship team. And yet, here we are, finding out they don't have a single dedicated international scout. Not one. Zero. Zilch. Let me put this in perspective for you. The Connecticut Sun, who the Fever fans love to trash, at least have actual scouting infrastructure. The Las Vegas Aces have scouts watching games in Europe, Asia, and Australia year-round. The New York Liberty have a whole department dedicated to player evaluation. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever are out here playing telephone with assistant coaches asking, "Hey, you know anybody who's good?" The fan reaction has been absolutely brutal, and rightfully so. One fan tweeted, "They scouted based on past relationships and highlights on Twitter. You can't make this up." Another said, "This is who you know scouting, unbecoming of an organization who wrote a $78 million check for a practice facility." And my personal favorite, we joked that the Fever should use Twitter to scout because they don't have anything else, and they said let's play phone a friend instead. Think about what this means for Caitlin Clark. She's out here trying to build a championship culture, working her tail off to elevate this franchise, and the front office is running their scouting department like it's a group project where nobody did the reading. Clark deserves better. Aliyah Boston deserves better. Heck, even Kelsey Mitchell, who they somehow convinced to stay, deserves better than this amateur hour nonsense. You want to know the real kicker? When Stephanie White was coaching the Connecticut Sun, they had one of the best scouting networks in the league. She knows what proper scouting looks like. She knows what it takes to find hidden gems internationally. And yet here she is, standing at a podium, admitting with a straight face that they're essentially winging it. This explains so much about their recent draft picks too. Remember when they drafted Bree Hall at number 20 only to cut her before the season even started? That wasn't just a bad pick. That was a pick made by people who clearly hadn't done their homework. They probably watched her college highlights on YouTube, heard she was friends with Aliyah Boston, and said, good enough for us. And don't even get me started on Victoria Saxton. They kept her on the roster. Why? Because someone somewhere probably said she looked good in practice once. This is not how you build a championship team. This is how you waste generational talent and turn your franchise into a laughingstock. The timing of this revelation couldn't be us. Caitlin Clark is still out with a groin injury. They just lost both backup point guards, Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald, to season-ending injuries. They're scrambling to sign 7-day hardship contracts just to field a team. And now we find out they don't even have proper scouting to identify who they should be signing. Rachel Deida, yes, the fashion influencer Rachel Deida, probably knows more about international players than the Indiana Fever's front office. At least she actually attended games in Europe when she was visiting her girlfriend. The Fever can't even claim that much. Here's what really burns me up about this whole situation. The Fever have everything they need to be successful. They have the money. Hello, $78 million facility. They have the market. Indianapolis loves basketball. They have the stars. Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston are franchise players, and they have the attention. Every game is must-watch TV, but none of that matters if your front office is run like a fantasy league where nobody knows what they're doing. You know what other teams are doing while the Fever are watching YouTube? The Liberty have scouts at every major European league game. The Aces have detailed psychological profiles on every potential signing. The Storm have analytics departments crunching numbers on players from leagues most fans have never heard of. Meanwhile, the Fever are asking, hey, anyone know someone who plays basketball overseas? And let's talk about Kyra Lambert for a second. I'm not saying she's a bad player. She averaged 15 points and 6 assists in Greece. She won the Greek A1 league with Olympiacos. But here's the thing, Olympiacos got destroyed every single time they played in EuroLeague. The Greek league is not exactly the cream of the crop when it comes to European basketball. And the fact that she wasn't even on their radar until they desperately needed someone, that tells you everything. White tried to spin it by saying Lambert has been watching the team, studying what we're doing. Great, so has every Fever fan with League Pass. Should we sign them too? The bar is so low it's underground at this point. The most frustrating part is that this is fixable. All they need to do is hire actual scouts, not consultants, not friends of friends. Real professional scouts who watch games, compile reports, and identify talent before emergency situations arise. Every other professional sports organization in the world has figured this out. Why can't the Fever? Some fans are calling for Kelly Krauskopf and Amber Cox to be fired. I understand the frustration, but let's be real. They just got here. The problem is systemic. This organization has been coasting on hope and prayers for years. They lucked into Caitlin Clark because she was the obvious #1 pick. They got Aliyah Boston because, again, obvious #1 pick. But when it comes to building depth, finding role players, identifying international talent, they're completely lost. Here's my message to any WNBA team executive watching this. I'll do it. I'm not even joking. Give me $100 grand in travel expenses and I'll scout Europe better than the Fever's current system of my friend said she's good. I'll actually watch games. I'll compile actual reports. I'll identify players before you need them for emergency 7-day contracts. The bar is that low. The worst part, this incompetence is happening during the most important season in franchise history. They have Caitlin Clark. They have unprecedented attention. They have a chance to build something special, and they're blowing it because they can't be bothered bothered to hire professional scouts. Stephanie White knows better. Kelly Krauskopf has been in this league long enough to know better. Amber Cox came from organizations that had proper scouting, so why are they accepting this? Why are they standing at podiums admitting they're using Stone Age methods in a modern league? The Connecticut Sun, who White just left, brought in quality international players consistently. They found Marina Mabrey in free agency. They developed Brianna Jones into an all-star. They identified DeWanna Bonner as the perfect veteran addition. You think they did that by watching clips and calling friends? Indiana Fever fans deserve better. They've supported this team through years of mediocrity. They've packed arenas even when the team was terrible. They've bought merchandise, watched every game, defended their players on social media. And this is what they get in return? A front office that scouts like it's 1992. If I'm Caitlin Clark, I'm furious. You're telling me I'm supposed to trust this organization with my career when they can't even implement basic scouting infrastructure? You're telling me we're supposed to compete for championships when we're finding players the same way people find roommates on Craigslist? And before anyone says, well, maybe they do have scouts and White just misspoke. No, just know when directly asked about their scouting process, she listed watching clips and calling contacts. That's it. If they had professional scouts, don't you think she would have mentioned them? Don't you think she would have said, our scouting department identified her months ago? Instead, she admitted Lambert wasn't even on their radar. The Fever have two choices right now. Option 1, immediately hire a professional scouting department and admit they've been failing their players and fans. Option 2, continue this amateur hour approach and watch their generational talent demand trades to competent organizations. Because make no mistake, Caitlin Clark won't tolerate this forever. Aliyah Boston won't tolerate this forever. Players talk, agents talk, and when word gets out that the Fever are running their scouting department like a group chat, good luck attracting free agents. The WNBA is evolving. Teams are getting smarter, more sophisticated, more professional. The days of winging it are over. You either adapt or you get left behind. And right now, the Indiana Fever are stuck in the Stone Age while everyone else is playing chess. This revelation should be a wake-up call, not just for the Fever, but for their fans. Demand better. Stop accepting mediocrity. Stop making excuses for incompetence. This is a professional sports organization with professional athletes who deserve professional support. The fact that players are finding out about teammates through 7-day contracts based on YouTube clips is embarrassing. The fact that the head coach openly admits they don't scout internationally is embarrassing. The fact that they're relying on AU basketball for evaluation is embarrassing. Everything about this situation is embarrassing. Imagine being Kyra Lambert right now. You find out you got signed not because of thorough scouting, not because they've been tracking your career, but because someone made a phone call and said you were decent. How's that for making someone feel valued? And imagine being a player in Europe right now, working your tail off, hoping for a WNBA opportunity. The Fever won't even know you exist unless you happen to play against one of their assistant coaches' friends. That's not just incompetent, it's disrespectful to the global nature of women's basketball. The $78 million practice facility means nothing if you don't have the infrastructure to identify who should be practicing in it. The fancy new front office titles mean nothing if they're not doing the basic work of talent evaluation. The sold out crowds mean nothing if you're wasting the opportunity to build a championship team. This is bigger than just one player signing. This is about organizational philosophy. This is about competence. This is about respecting your players, your fans, and your sport enough to do things the right way. So here's my challenge to the Indiana Fever. Prove me wrong. Show us the scouts. Show us the infrastructure. Show us that this was just a miscommunication. Because if this is really how you're operating, if you're really scouting players through YouTube and group text, then you don't deserve Caitlin Clark. You don't deserve Aliyah Boston. And you definitely don't deserve the loyal fans who keep showing up despite your incompetence. The clock is ticking. The league is watching. And most importantly, your franchise players are watching. Fix this now or watch your golden opportunity slip away because you couldn't be bothered to hire actual scouts. This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about basic organizational competence. And right now, the Indiana Fever are failing on every level. Before you click away, hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep exposing what's really going on behind the scenes. The mainstream media won't tell you this stuff, but we will. And if you think the Fever front office needs a complete overhaul, smash that like button right now. Let's get this video in front of every Fever fan who deserves to know the truth about their organization. Comment below if you think heads should roll over this scouting disaster, and I'll see you in the next one where we break down exactly how other teams are building dynasties while the Fever are stuck playing amateur hour.